is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And y'all, we really have to watch these other people in America who are trying to create a legacy that they don't have and trying to do it at our expense. One day you got the Asians trying to push themselves ahead by trying to take up all of the slots in Ivy League and Big Ten universities. And now you've got the Latinos claiming they've made this big contribution to America. And so they've got this special coming out on PBS, American Historian, where John Leguma, and I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong, is trying to narrate, trying to make everybody think that the Latinos have made these big contributions. Most of them are things that Black Americans are known for. I'm not saying that the Latinos haven't done anything, but what they've done, they did in the name of trying to pass for white. They've spent 150 years trying to be white. Now they realize that the white people are not going to accept them regardless to what they do, regardless to how anti-Black they become. Now they've gone back and tried to create some kind of a legacy that they've made this big contribution to America, but they've just been overlooked. So, for instance, here are some things that they have listed. Unveiling hidden stars, remarkable Latino contributions in the history of the United States. The first bullet is just a part of the introduction. I don't even know why they put that there. But they say there are contributors to the Westward Expansion, champions of the civil rights. Now get that. Champions of the civil rights. Pioneering women in science. Political trailblazers. Defenders with military valor. Enrichers of the American culture. So we need to get into some specifics. So what they're calling contributors to Westward Expansion, the United States and Mexico fought a war from 1846 to 1848. The United States won that war and took territory from Mexico, which are the present-day states of California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, most of Arizona and Colorado, and parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Wyoming. That's what they're calling what they contributed. Well, I would say that the United States took that land. Now, was it right? I wouldn't call it right. No, it wasn't. But remember, Thomas Jefferson coined the phrase manifest destiny, in which he decided that the United States should own all of the land from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. And they did. They did that. They pulled that off. But now they're calling that something that the Hispanics contributed. Well, you make the call on that. You make the call. It was their land. But they didn't give it up. The land was taken from them. And before I move on to the next point, please remember that the reason the United States Army had time to go out there taking land away from people is because of our ancestors' enslavement. They were the ones here building up the country and building the economy while they were going out there bothering people and taking land from people. So let's keep that in mind. So, champions of the civil rights. Latinos have historically been at the forefront of the fight for civil rights. Well, who knew? Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta tirelessly advocated for the fair treatment of farm workers through the United Farm Workers Union, leading to crucial labor rights reform and significantly influencing the broader civil rights movement. See, this is a stretch because we don't know anything about that. I have heard of Cesar Chavez and his fight for basic rights for Mexican farm workers, but I would hardly call that influencing civil rights as we know civil rights to be. We have a civil rights bill. I need to see the bills that were passed that affected everybody in the United States. Our civil rights laws and the laws that were passed through our advocacy helped everybody. The 14th Amendment is the reason why all of them are coming in here now. So I need to know what the legislation was that actually impacted Americans and people who come to America, not you saying that you impacted it. I need to know what the legislation is, okay? That's all I got to say about that. They also cited a case in 1946, Mendes versus Westminster, that led to the desegregation of California schools. They're trying to tie this case to Brown versus Board of Education, which came 8 years later, which desegregated schools in America. The problem with that is that Mendes versus Westminster only had to do with the schools in California. Furthermore, I don't see where black students were even affected by this. This did not desegregate California schools for black students. In 1946, Mexicans were considered white. They were going to school with white children, but some of those children who apparently had special needs, I'm not sure why they separated these Mexican children from the white children in Orange County. But I've tried to do some research, and I'm not going to spend all day and all night looking for it. I don't see how this affected black people at all. So Brown versus Board of Education should not even be brought up with this case. It really should not be. This is somebody trying to string something together that doesn't fit. These Mexican parents fought because they had put their children in what they call Mexican schools. But this didn't have anything to do with black children going to school in California. And so the next contribution that they said they've made to America is pioneering women in science. And they've got two women here. One of them was the Surgeon General under President George Bush, the first Bush, and the other one traveled on the Space Shuttle Discovery. They say that she is the co-inventor on 3 patents, but they didn't tell us what they were. Now, I have said these people tried to steal our talking points. So, prove me wrong. Y'all need to bring more receipts than what you're bringing. They're listing themselves as political trailblazers. They've got the name of a couple of congresswomen, somebody that was the Secretary of Education, who everybody most likely thought was white. And then, of course, they have Sonia Sotomayor that President Obama appointed to the Supreme Court. Through our advocacy, he got to the presidency, and then he elevated this Latina woman, this Puerto Rican woman. So, okay, so much for gratitude, President Obama, even though I still like President Obama. So next they have the Defenders with Military Valor. All I can say about this is these 2 or 3 little names that they've listed here, if America was counting on any real input from them, we wouldn't have won any war. Matter of fact, we would have been defeated by now. No 54th Massachusetts Infantry, no Buffalo Soldiers, no Tuskegee Airmen, no Harlem Hellfighters, nothing that would indicate that they are defenders with military valor. They should be ashamed of themselves, even calling themselves that, with this little bit of representation. And last but not least, they're calling themselves Enrichers of the American culture and say that they have shaped American culture throughout history. Latino musicians, artists, writers, and performers have enriched the nation's cultural tapestry. Now, Rita Moreno is the name that jumps out all the time. And then you have Gloria Estefan and her band, and they are good representations of Latino music, Cuban music, which they probably got from the black Cuban, but we'll give them that. And then you have Jennifer Lopez, who climbed up on the backs of black people like most of the Latino entertainers did. They either climbed up on the backs of black people or climbed up on the backs of white people. They don't stand on their own as a cultural entity. So now they're trying to frame something and make up something because they can't identify as white anymore. So anyway, not to be mean, but I just think it's important that we point these things out. We have never been able to hide behind anybody as the Latino people have been. We've had to stand on our own, so our accomplishments stand for themselves. And it's not fair for people to try to take the talking points of one group and try to make it seem like their accomplishments are parallel to what the other group has done, because they're not. They just aren't. And I wish them the best in creating the identity of pride that they seem to want. But they need to do it like everybody else. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and go for it. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for listening. Leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and have a good evening.